Hello, everybody, and welcome to my CJ272 Social Media Context Case Study assignment. My name is Evan Hong, and I am a journalism major here at UWEC, along with a sociology minor. So this project is going to be a case study, comparative analysis project of social media for two different sports retail companies, being Lids Incorporated and Fanatics.com. So Lids Incorporated is a store and mall-based retail chain that sells primarily sports and athletic headwear, along with some other sports merchandise and accessories, while Fanatics.com is an online retailer that sells primarily all sorts of general sports merchandise. So without further ado, let's get going.
So before we get into the comparisons of social media for Lids and Fanatics, I'm first going to tell you guys my executive summary and overall feedback of this study, just to tell you a little bit about what I have learned throughout this case study. So, after researching the usage of social media for marketing for both Lids and Fanatics, it is clear to see that Lids has a higher social currency than Fanatics.com and has a much more effective social media marketing strategy. One reason for this is due to the fact that Lids simply uses more social media platforms than Fanatics. Lid uses a blog that acts somewhat as a second website for their organization, which can link consumers to other social media outlets. The second reason why I think they excel is that they do a better job of networking social media platforms together to reach a high number of viewers and help increase customer engagement, and that is Lids. The third reason why I believe Lids does a better job is due to the originality of the content that they produce. While Fanatics relies heavily on celebrity promotion, Lids does a better job of creating original content involving the celebrities, as well as a high amount of fan interaction in a lot of their social media websites. By doing this, it can help increase customer loyalty through better customer service or just simply being more accessible to those consumers and customers. So while Fanatics is highly popular on Pinterest and they excel at using photos to promote their brand, Lid does a better job on virtually every other platform through different promotion tactics using text, interactive polls, and other strategic objectives. Therefore, Lids has a higher social currency and more effective social media marketing strategy than Fanatics.com. All right, so to give a little bit of an overview about each company, I will describe what each of them do and how they do things a little bit differently from each other, as well as some of their analytics. So starting with Lids. Lids is a store-based and mall-based retailer. They also have online shopping as well, so you can either go to a Lids location and shop for their hats there, or you can shop online. While Fanatics is primarily an online retailer, meaning that there are no stores that you can physically go to that are under the Fanatics brand. Everything that you want to buy from them is online. So Lids, they primarily sell athletic headwear, being beanies, winter hats, ball caps, basically anything regarding sports headwear that you can think of. And they also sell general sports merchandise, accessories, and apparel, being jerseys, shirts, clothing, and other accessories that might not necessarily be clothing. So Fanatics, on the other hand, they are just sales of general sports merchandise that are licensed by the professional sports organizations, just like Lids does. They sell generally sports merchandise, being accessories, and athletic apparel, being hats, clothes, and all sorts of things. So where Fanatics sells a majority of different types of clothing and sports merchandise, Lids primarily sells hats, but they also have a limited selection of other accessories as well. So according to some statistics I found, Lids, in their estimated annual revenue last year, they made around $488.6 million, while Fanatics made almost $900 million. To be exact, they made $888.3 million in their annual revenue, and that is just an estimate. So Lids, they have reward programs for loyal customers, including Lids Club, and Lids Access Pass, while Fanatics also has something like that as well, called Fan Cash, and both of these programs for each company are for loyal customers to get rewards on their purchases. And since both companies have online shopping, they include shipping in both of their retail sales. So now we're going to get into the comparisons of each social media outlet for both Lids and Fanatics. So the first one that we're going to start with is Facebook. Facebook is widely regarded as the most popular and the dominant social media website on the internet today. So Lids, to start, they have 1,143,237 likes as of the time that I researched this project. I'm sure some of those numbers have changed by now, but that is a rough estimate of what they have right now. While Fanatics, on the other hand, has around 279,000 likes, so not nearly as many likes for the Fanatics page. And Lids obviously has a higher amount there. So the posts that Lids makes are very much related to promoting new and relevant sports merchandise, as well as Fanatics. They kind of do a similar thing. They like to post their posts relevant to current events. So, for example, if the Super Bowl is going on, they'll post merchandise related to the Super Bowl for each of those teams and things like that. And the sports merchandise is generally relevant to what's going on in the sports world. So for Lids, their posts vary in activity and engagement. So on some posts, there is a lot of engagement, whether that be likes and comments. And on Fanatics, on the other hand, they sort of lack that engagement and activity from their followers for something that I've noticed. Some of their posts might only get around 5 to 10 likes. And considering that they have almost 280,000 likes on their page, you would think that that would be a little bit higher. So Lids does a better job of engaging their consumers on Facebook. So, like I said, the comments section is very active on the Lids page, and on the Fanatics page, not so much. There's little to no two-way conversation on the Fanatics page. It's usually just one person commenting one thing, not directly to another person, and there's not a whole lot of back and forth conversation on the Fanatics page like there is on the Lids page. So Lids also, though, on Facebook, there's a Facebook Messenger platform where you can basically send instant messaging through a separate app and a separate sort of website. So you can kind of talk to other people, whether it be for your own personal use, you can talk to other people there, or if you're a business, you can connect with customers and things like that through Facebook Messenger. So Lids actually lacks their uses of Facebook Messenger, while Fanatics actually is very active on Facebook Messenger, and they like to use their customer service through Facebook Messenger, and it says that they typically reply to consumers on Facebook Messenger within a day. So that is somewhere where Lids lacks. Overall, I would say that Lids has a higher social currency rating just because of the increased engagement on their page. Even though they do have the lack of Facebook Messenger usage, they do have more engagement overall in their actual posts, while Fanatic doesn't, which is why I would give Fanatics a lower social currency rating for Facebook. So throughout this presentation, I'm going to go through strategic objectives for each social media platform right after I discuss some of their analytics and the comparisons between their engagement and things like that. So we're going to continue on with Facebook here. So starting with both companies, actually, I'm going to mention that both companies use interactive videos to attract the attention of consumers and getting them involved, which is very important when you are marketing on social media because you want to have that interaction and engagement. Even though Fanatics doesn't have as much as Lids, they both try to do the similar things. So Lids, they use some celebrity quotes and appearances from celebrities that are geared to attract certain sports fans. So obviously when fans see a certain celebrity or a player from their favorite team, they might be more interested in seeing what that merchandise is all about. Fanatics does this much more often. They're very heavily based on using athletes and celebrities to promote their products because they claim that they're the best licensed sports merchandise company. So they tend to use a lot of celebrities and athletes to promote their products online. So moving on, both companies use hashtags on Facebook to connect posts to current events, and it helps market products relevant to the time of those events, as I mentioned earlier. That's another way how they can kind of connect their promotion to those current events is through the hashtags. And Lids, they tend to partner with a lot of other companies like Carhartt and 47 that are clothing companies and hat companies to network posts to other consumers. So if they do that, then Carhartt and 47 might end up posting something from Lids onto their page and things like that. On the other hand, Fanatics, they tend to post a lot of fan photos of fans wearing their merchandise, on the other hand, to help gain customer loyalty. So Fanatics, obviously, hence the name Fanatics, they love their fans and they heavily promote using fans and athletes, while Lids is more of a traditional business model where they kind of work with other companies and help network, especially on Facebook. All right, so now moving on, we're going to move to the next social media outlet that I'm going to compare Lids and Fanatics for, and that is Instagram. Instagram's obviously known for their outlet for a lot of photos and videos to be posted with little text. It's mainly image-based social media. So Lids on their Instagram page has 310,000 followers, and Fanatics has 70.4 thousand followers. So Lids, obviously the leader there, as they were for Facebook as well. So both companies, they promote, similar to Facebook, sports merchandise relevant to current events, and that's some sort of a trend that you're going to see throughout all of the social media outlets that we go through in this presentation. And on Instagram, both pages, they vary in the amount of engagement. For Lids, they have high engagement on some and low on others, depending on what post it's going to be. Fanatics, They vary, but overall it's a little bit lower, and that can just be due to the lack of followers that they have compared to Lids. Obviously, Lids 310,000, Fanatics just about 70.5 thousand. So Lids on Instagram, they utilize the Instagram Stories feature, which is that is a feature where a lot of people can post more personal and in-depth posts. Maybe, it can be a Lids representative posting something about their life, using the Lids platform to kind of get more of an in-depth personal look at somebody, using their sports merchandise as a form of promotion. And Fanatics does this as well. So that feature is also utilized, as well as the IGTV feature, which stands for Instagram Television, which is a newer feature on Instagram where you can post longer form videos and promote your products that way. So both of those companies use both of those features, so I would say both companies do a great job of utilizing pretty much everything that Instagram has to offer. Instagram is one of the more popular social media outlets, and it continues to grow. And with its heavily image-based content, this would be a great Instagram would be a great platform to use a lot of promotion on for both of these companies. So now moving on to the strategic objectives of Instagram. So Lids, they're going to start by promoting brand by using celebrity pictures to attract attention, and Fanatics does this as well. As you mentioned on Facebook, they both do these things quite a bit. Fanatics may do it a little bit more and things like that. So both of these companies do that, as well as they use hashtags to connect merchandise to current events. Similar to Facebook, Instagram is they're more copious with their amount of hashtags that they use, but Facebook kind of just recently added the hashtags in recent years to kind of do a similar thing as Instagram and Twitter. So Lids and Fanatics using that tactic again on Instagram as well. So Lids, they tend to ask questions in posts to create consumer interaction in their comments. So they might ask, who's going to be winning this sporting event? And then they say comment below, and then a lot of people will, reply the comment on who they think and things like that. So they do a lot of interactive posts to kind of get people talking in their comments section. Fanatics, on the other hand, they often repost consumers' photos wearing their merchandise to gain customer loyalty. Similar to on Facebook, they share a lot of fan photos. They do this on Instagram as well. That is their tactic of gaining customer loyalty rather than having them interact as much, I guess. So Lids, they also tend to partner with other companies to help network their brand on Instagram, similar to what I said about Facebook with Carhartt and 47 working with them to do that. Fanatics, on the other hand, not so much of that, honestly. Fanatics is just they're very independent company, so they don't really network as much. They really just pride themselves in being the global leader, as they call it, for official licensed sports merchandise, and so they don't really network a whole lot. So for Lids, I'm going to give them a higher social currency rating on this because of their increased interaction and their increasing number of followers on their page, while Fanatics' lower social currency rating. They aren't as interactive as Lids is on Instagram, similar to Facebook, so that is why I'm going to give those two companies those ratings. All right, moving on now to the third social media outlet of this case study, and that is Twitter. So Twitter obviously is a very well-known social media platform. I would say it's probably the second most popular behind Facebook. Twitter is growing and continues to grow on social media for, it's the 140 character limit, which is what it was before, and now it is 280 characters. The short posts and things like that are what attract people to Twitter a lot. So starting with Lids. Lids on their page has 93.1K followers, while Fanatics has 50.4K followers. So obviously both companies not nearly as much engagement as on Facebook and Instagram, but the gap is a little bit smaller there between the amount of followers for both companies, with Lids still being the leading company there in followers. So as for the last two social media outlets, both companies tend to post often relevant to current events to promote sports merchandise. So that is similar to the last couple of social media outlets. So many posts do not average a high amount of likes and comments on either of these pages, and that could be due to, the lack of followers. Obviously, you can see on the other two social media sites that there's a copious amount more followers on both of those sites, especially Lids, that has over 1 million likes on their page. The engagement on Twitter just isn't what it is on either Facebook or Instagram, and both companies have little to two-way conversation throughout the page. But I think that is where this next part comes in. So both of these companies provide second Twitter accounts that are strictly for customer service purposes. So on the Lids side of things, their secondary Twitter account is called @LidsAssist, and that is strictly for customer service purposes. So Lids, their official page, they focus primarily on just promoting the merchandise, and they don't necessarily use that page for customer service like they might on Facebook or other things. And the same goes for Fanatics. They have their own separate account where you can go to, talk about customer service. And with the short amount of characters and the messages between, people on Twitter, I think a lot of companies think that a lot of companies think that Twitter is the best outlet for customer service when it comes to social media. All right, now to the strategic objectives of both companies that are on Twitter. So Lids, they often retweet fan posts wearing merchandising and customer loyalty. So this is something that we have seen on Fanatics' Instagram page and on their Facebook page as well. Lids does this a lot on Twitter. I think they think that Twitter might be the best place for fan interaction, as I mentioned just a little bit ago with the Lids Assist page. They kind of try to do that a little bit on their official page. And Fanatics, on the other hand, they more often include celebrities and athletes in posts rather than fans, and this is just a common trend that we're beginning to see on all of Fanatics' sites. They use a lot of fan posts on other things, but the celebrities and athletes usually come first, and the celebrities and athletes are something that they heavily market as a promotion method. So Twitter, also known for its usage of hashtags. Both of these companies use their hashtags to connect posts to current events like the Super Bowl or other major current events that are going on in sports to help promote their sports merchandise. Both pages, they retweet sports media pages to attract sports fans to their page. So, if ESPN posts a highlight of a big game the night before, Lids might repost it, and then they might tag some sort of merchandise related to that team or player in their post. So they use a lot of other sports media pages to their advantage to kind of attract more fans to their page. When people see that on the Lids page, they might say, oh, I might want to go to the Lids page, or I might want to go to the Fanatics page to see more of that. So it helps promote their products in that way. So Lids, they post a lot of photos and videos to Twitter often so fans can see their merchandise. So Twitter, even though it's heavily text-based, that you can do a lot of graphics as well. So photos and videos are up to a certain length. And Fanatics, on the other hand, they use interactive polls for better customer interaction. So this is something that they don't do on Facebook a whole lot or Instagram. They aren't as interactive on either of those sites, but Twitter has an interactive polls feature similar to what Facebook has, and Fanatics utilizes that as well because Twitter is one of the more engageable social media outlets that is out there. So Lids, they reply to fans often to gain a lot of customer loyalty, even on their main page. They reply to fans, not for customer service purposes, but they reply to them just to, kind of crack jokes and be accessible to a lot of people. They might direct them to that Lids Assist page, and they interact with their fans in that way. So the other side of things, Fanatics, they often use a lot of web links in their tweets to directly connect consumers to their websites, which is something that I did not see a whole lot of on the Lids page. So Fanatics, they share the link to their own website in the tweet a lot, so people can, they might see the tweet and they might see that merchandise, and then they will just be able to directly click on the link to that website to, go and buy it if they choose to. So that's a great usage of Twitter to, connect fans to their official website. And another thing that Fanatics does that Lids doesn't is they provide another separate Twitter account called @FansAuthentic, and that is to promote more valuable memorabilia. So Fanatics actually has another outlet called Fanatics Authentic, where they sell, more valuable memorabilia, which could be autographed merchandise or, just historical artifacts and memorabilia from sports. And they do a great job of promoting that as well. That's another outlet of their company that they promote. So they actually have 3 total Twitter pages for their own company, which is why I'm going to give them a high social currency rating, just because on Twitter they are a little bit more interactive overall than Lids. Even though Lids, they reply to fans often. They have that Lids Assist page. They retweet, use hashtags, all those things like that. Fanatics is just doing a little bit more to promote their page on Facebook. And even though they might have a little bit less amount of followers than Lids, I think this will be able to propel their page to a higher number of followers and overall give them a higher social currency rating. All right, so the fourth social media outlet that we're going to be looking at is Pinterest. And Pinterest is a unique social media website because it's heavily image-based, similar to Instagram, but not a whole lot of words. It's used by a lot of people to, kind of get ideas on how to do things, what to buy, things they might want to see that they might not have access to, and things like that. You can pin your posts to boards. You can use pins to, kind of connect to other pages and things like that. So Pinterest, a very unique social media website here. So we're going to start with Lids. So Lids has 136.2K monthly viewers. So monthly viewers are just people that look at the page that aren't necessarily followers of the page, while Fanatics, on the other hand, has a staggering 2.1 million monthly viewers, which is by far their most interactive and most popular social media outlet so far. As we've been able to see, Lids has had more followers and engagement on both social media websites. All three of the social media websites that we've looked at so far. But Fanatics, 2.1 million monthly viewers is definitely their best yet. So on the other side of things, Pinterest also has a followers feature if they want to, directly follow that page. Lids only has 3,000 followers on their Pinterest page, which is not a whole lot of people. And Fanatics, on the other hand, has 24,000 followers. So on Pinterest, the monthly viewers stat usually means a little bit more. People don't necessarily follow pages as much as they just go to those pages. I'm seeing them from other people. So Lids, they use the pins feature, and they kind of pin, other posts using their merchandise to their account. That's what Pinterest is used for heavily. A lot of people use pins to kind of sort of like a retweet feature similar to Twitter, but it's on Pinterest. So Lids, they only have 263 total pins on their account, which is not a whole lot of interaction with a lot of other people and pages, while Fanatics, on the other hand, over 10 million pins to their account. So a very, very active Pinterest page for the Fanatics company there. So because of this, Lids, their comments on pins aren't not very active because you actually can comment on pins, while Fanatics, their comments on pins and posts are fairly active due to the high amount of traffic that they have. So, a lot of people on Pinterest, they use posts, boards, and pins, like I mentioned before, to kind of, showcase what they see and what they like. Both of these companies, they both use all of those features to, relate their merchandise to current events and things like that, a similar trend that we've seen in the other three social medias that we've looked at. And Lids, they have 13 different boards on their account, and while Fanatics only has 6. So for the strategic objectives of Pinterest, these are pretty interesting, and something that I found very interesting was that both of these companies, they separate the styles of merchandise into certain boards for a more organized layout. So when I mentioned that, Lids only has 13 boards on their account while Fanatics has 6, both of these companies use the boards feature to separate their styles of merchandise into, more organized shopping, especially on Pinterest. So for Lids, they might put a certain type of hat for a certain type of team in a board. They might put jerseys in a board that's separate from their hat sales, things like that. They might do just Super Bowl hats, things like that, to kind of separate the styles of their merchandise. And both of these companies do that, with Lids actually doing it a little bit more, surprisingly. So Lids, they use a lot of fan photos as posts to their boards to help gain customer loyalty. A large majority of the posts don't necessarily come from them. It comes from the fans, which is something that Fanatics does with the pins as well, even though, they might have a lot more original content, and that's what comes with their pins. They have a lot of pins, as you mentioned, around 10 million on their page, so they do that as well. So Fanatics and Lids, they both have a website link posted in the description of their page to directly connect to followers, which is something that I haven't seen on every social media website for both of these companies. I know on Instagram, Fanatics doesn't really have that feature, while Lids does on Facebook. Fanatics doesn't have it as much on Facebook either, a lot of promotion to their actual official website. But this is something that they both do on Pinterest. So there is a video feature on Pinterest, and it's not very utilized by either of these companies. When I looked on their videos on Pinterest, there's nothing on there either. And like I mentioned before, the usage of pins, the feature is very effective for Fanatics, just sharing those posts, while Lids, they lack a usage of the pins feature, sharing other posts from other people, while they use fan photos as posts for their own personal posts. They kind of take those what they do there is they kind of ask permission from fans to use those photos on their certain page. They don't actually pin them or take the posts from the other people's page, which is something that Fanatics does very effectively. As I mentioned, they have 10 million pins, and that has definitely gained a lot of customer loyalty from them. So for Pinterest, I'm actually going to give Fanatics a higher social currency rating due to the amount of traffic on their page and the amount of increasing interaction that they use on Pinterest. While Lids, I'm going to give them an average social currency rating. They do have a lot of monthly viewers. 136,000 is quite a bit, but 2.1 million is no joke whatsoever. And Fanatics, for that reason, I'm going to give them a higher social currency rating due to their increasing interaction. So the fifth social media website that we are going to compare here is YouTube. As we all know, YouTube is the most popular video streaming service, the most popular website on the internet for people to post their original video content, and it's strictly videos, no images, nothing else. It has to be in a video format. So overall, YouTube, not the most successful social media outlet and most engaged social media outlet for either of these companies. Looking at Lids, they have 8,417 subscribers, while Fanatics only has 1,703 subscribers. Something that I've noticed on YouTube is a lot of the companies don't really promote a lot of things on YouTube. They kind of geared more towards the Facebook and Twitter outlets because video content is a lot harder to make it interesting, which is why a lot of, people that create their own original content that aren't, bound to a company do a lot better. That's why they have a lot of those high amount of subscribers. And you can even post those videos to Twitter and Facebook that you do make that go on YouTube. So YouTube is kind of just another outlet for video content, but the video content for, companies trying to promote sports merchandise isn't always the most unique. So looking at Lids, their YouTube page has definitely been much more successful. They have over 15 million total video views. Their company their company started the YouTube channel in 2009, so it's been about 10 years, almost 10 years since the YouTube was started for Lids. Fanatics, on the other hand, only 638,400 video views. Obviously, they have a little over around 6,000 less subscribers than Lids, almost 7,000, and their YouTube page only started in about 2013. So Lids also has 4 years over Fanatics on the length of their channel being active. So Lids, their individual video views vary from 100 views to over 1 million views, meaning that some of their videos only have 100 views on them, and their highest video has, over 1 million in general. I think their highest video has about 1.6 million views on one single video. So Fanatics, on the other hand, they typically average more video views per video. So, a lot of their videos, they might have around 100 views, but most of them typically sit around 1,000 views. But I believe that their most popular video only has around 360,000 views, so not over the 1 million that Lids has. So on YouTube comments, this may be due to a lack of subscribers on both pages. Their comment sections are not very active on either page, and there's a lack of engagement through likes and dislikes. Obviously, there's a dislike feature on YouTube as well as a likes feature, and none of those features are very active on either of those YouTube pages. For Lids, most videos record under 1 minute in length, with some exceptions for longer videos. Typically, they like to keep their videos short and sweet, maybe a 50-second video just promoting, like a PSA sort of thing, just promoting one of their products. Fanatics, on the other hand, they do a lot of fan and celebrity athlete interviews, and they range between 1 to 3 minutes, with exceptions higher and lower here and there, obviously. So for the strategic objectives of YouTube, I'm going to go through them a little bit here. They're pretty different for both of these companies here. So Lids, they typically separate videos into playlists to create a more organized layout by the style of their merchandise, similar to what both companies do on Pinterest. They do this for video format as well. They have a lot of playlists regarding, certain types of merchandise and certain interviews with people, just certain promotions, video styles, and things like that. Fanatics does this as well, but they're not nearly as organized as Lids. They only have 2 or 3 playlists, where Lids has, over 20 different playlists for their YouTube page. On Fanatics, almost every single video includes athletes and celebrities to help promotion. So this is basically the tactic that they have took on and they have stuck with, and that is to, include athletes and celebrities to help their promotion. A lot of athlete interviews that last, within that 1 to 3 minute range. Just short little clips from athletes. They, like on other social media sites, they really heavily rely on using celebrities to help promote their products. So Lids, something that they do well is they use links to their other social media websites as well as their official website in all video descriptions to connect their viewers. So a feature that YouTube has is you can put automatic descriptions and signatures in your video descriptions, and a lot of people tend to post links to their other social media websites when they do this, and Lids does this for every single video. So every single video that you can watch on Lids, you can connect yourself to their own personal website, their own official website, or other Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Pinterest, other social media outlets that they have. Fanatics, they do not do this from what I've noticed. They might just post a little short 1 or 2 sentence description about the video, but they do not include a lot of links, which is something that I think they should definitely, start to do. So Lids, on the other hand, they promote a lot of merchandise directly related to their current events through these videos. So they pretty much do the same thing that they do on a lot of other social media websites, except they do it in video form. And Fanatics, on the other hand, they actually don't do much of this. Like I mentioned, almost every video includes athletes and celebrities in interviews, and some of them may be related to current events, but not all of them are. And on the other hand, Lids, some videos includes athletes and celebrities to help promotion, but a lot of them are more original content, and including some fan things here and there. So just based off of the fact that Lids does a better job of networking with other social media websites and networking to current events, I'm going to give them a higher social currency rating, and Fanatics is going to get a low social currency rating for YouTube. So the sixth and final social media outlet that we are going to compare here is the blog feature. So basically a blog is just a separate website that kind of acts as another website for a company or a person. They can post stories on there, like news stories, things like that, their photos, and those kinds of things. So Lids has a blog section, and Fanatics doesn't have a blog for their own company. And I'm not sure the reason why Fanatics doesn't have a blog, but I know the Lids blog is very successful. So we'll just kind of go through what makes the Lids blog successful, since Fanatics does not have one. So for Lids, their follower count on blogs, they don't really have followers. It just kind of acts as another website. It is unavailable. What Lids does on their blog is they connect all social media platforms into one site. So they will share a lot of posts from other social media outlets, like Instagram and YouTube are two popular ones that they share on the blog. They kind of connect all of their social media websites and platforms into one site through their blog. So this is something that they do very well. So Lids also has a frequently asked questions area for Lids customers and consumers to ask questions on their blog. Obviously, they have the Lids Assist feature on Twitter, and they might have some sort of link on their official website for FAQ, but usually that directs them to this blog where they can ask a lot of questions. So the blog is definitely used for a lot of interaction as well. So Lids, they also share blog posts that act as news stories about their new merchandise. As I mentioned, you can kind of post things in story format, and a blog is basically like, telling a story of some sorts. So they do that well on their page. The posts generally are relevant to current events, just like every other social media platform that they use. And then they have direct links to joining Lids Access Pass program and viewing their official website. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, that both of these companies have a rewards program for their loyal customers. Lids is being Lids Access Pass, Fanatics is Fan Cash. I've noticed something that Fanatics doesn't really promote much of that Fan Cash program on their social media, while Lids does, especially on the blog here. They have a direct link to join the Lids Access Pass and multiple direct links to their official website. So that is something that they network well. And overall, I think the blog for Lids just acts as somewhat of a second official website to represent the company. Obviously, somewhere else that they can go to kind of, like I said, reach all of the social media platforms at one time and ask their questions and, join the Access Pass and just everything that you can do on the official Lids website, but more interactive overall. It's not a shopping website, but it's more interactive for the consumers and fans to kind of see what's going on with the Lids company. And because they have a blog, I'm going to give them my social currency rating for the blog, while Fanatics obviously does not have a blog for their company, which is something that they should definitely look into. So now that we have gone through every social media platform for both of these companies, I'm going to give some of my own recommendations for each of the companies to, kind of help improve their social media marketing strategies, especially on social media sites where they kind of lack that engagement. So starting with Fanatics, something that I noticed was Fanatics does not do as well of a job of creating original content, and many of their posts are laid out in a similar style using athlete interviews and asking them the same questions in every single video. Fanatics could come up with some other original content ideas to keep their platforms fresh with new content. Obviously, if you see the same content over and over, it can get very stale and things like that. So Fanatics could do a better job of including new and original content on their pages, especially somewhere like YouTube where a lot of their things are video-based. So another thing that Fanatics could do better is a better job of marketing their social media platforms together. And Lids does a great job of connecting all of their social media platforms together by sharing links in their post descriptions, as well as on their blog. They do a great job of connecting there as well. If Fanatics begins to do this on their own more, popular platforms like Facebook or Pinterest, they may be able to reach more audiences on YouTube or Instagram where they lack engagement. So if they kind of start to share their YouTube videos on Facebook, where they have their one of their highest amount of followers, as well as Pinterest, if they can utilize that video feature for YouTube on Pinterest, as we noticed that they don't even use the video feature on Pinterest, it might be able to get more people to reach their YouTube page and ultimately get more people to shop for them. So I think that Lids does a wonderful job of creating interactive content to create fan engagement and customer loyalty, and Fanatics could do a better job of this by creating interaction through polls and videos rather than simply posting fan photos online. Obviously, they do this on Twitter a little bit, but utilizing those things on Facebook and Instagram like Lids does, might give them a better chance at getting more followers on all those social media websites. So yeah, I think they could do a better job there. And lastly, I think both companies could expand to the social media platform Snapchat. And if you don't know, Snapchat basically is an outlet that a lot of millennials use. It's sort of like an instant messaging site, but you can also view people's stories, similar to the Instagram story feature, that they have on Instagram. And it's a more personal social media outlet. And a lot of millennials use it. And knowing that a lot of millennials shop at Lids, and it's kind of the style that's in right now for fashion and a lot of things like that. They shop at Lids, they shop at Fanatics. A lot of people want their favorite sports merchandise. I think shifting their attention to that generation of people could help increase the branding and sales for both of their companies. So I think Snapchat would be a great social media outlet for them to join. A little bit more interpersonal and things like that, and that definitely can increase customer loyalty and overall improve their sales. So that is just about it for this presentation of my sports merchandise case study between Lids and Fanatics. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, I think after looking at all of this, I think that Lids has a higher social currency rating overall. They have a more effective social media marketing strategy, which is the reason why they have gotten more followers in their time on most social media platforms, with the exception of being Pinterest, where Fanatics has the lead there. But I think Fanatics definitely has potential to, get up to the level that Lids is at. Obviously, Fanatics is a growing company. It's strictly an online retailer, so Lids might just be more popular in general for the fact that more people will see them physically in the stores and be able to walk into their stores. But if Fanatics wants to promote their online company, they're going to have to do a better job online of promoting their social media and, promoting their companies on those, promoting their company on those social media outlets overall to, get people to come to their website and, share the link. So that's going to do it, and thanks for listening to this presentation, and have a good day.